Chapter 462. Establishing Order, Creating Worlds. Lin Fei summoned the system panel to review his current status. Host, Lin Fei. Martial Arts Realm, Martial Gods, Thunder Tribulation not yet crossed. Technique, 4 symbols and 5 elements creation technique, perfected. Indeed, Lin Fei's martial arts realm was that of a martial god, yet he had not yet crossed any Thunder Tribulation. Additionally, a new technique appeared, the 4 symbols and 5 elements creation technique, already perfected. This technique wasn't found in the Dubhe Dao artifact, in fact, no techniques were left in it. It primarily contained methods and insights for crossing tribulations, but no actual techniques. At the martial god stage, reliance on personal comprehension becomes paramount since every martial god comprehends different laws and faces unique tribulation methods. What technique could be universally applicable to all martial gods? This technique was Lin Fei's own creation, tailored to his unique traits. It combined his 4 symbols and 5 elements bloodlines to create worlds. Since it was his invention, it naturally reached completion immediately. However, whether it was effective or how effective it remained to be seen, Lin Fei wasn't sure. However, its presence on the system panel suggested that, theoretically, it was viable. Lin Fei had been spending his time with Feng Ling and hadn't been actively cultivating. Sometimes, he would have brilliant ideas in his mind. Initially, the idea of creating a world in each particle of his body was a wild fantasy. But as Lin Fei pondered more deeply, he seriously considered making it a reality, even devising a technique for it. Significantly, the system panel reflected Lin Fei's imaginative concept. In Lin Fei's vision, a space with earth, fire, water, wind, and the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth could constitute a world. It was a simple and straightforward concept, yet it seemed feasible enough to try. This path was uniquely suited to Lin Fei, given his 4 symbols and 5 elements bloodlines. Other martial gods seeking advancement would need to follow their own paths. This was Lin Fei's Tao. Taking a deep breath, Lin Fei focused all his attention and spirit into his body, particularly on a single particle. This particle was not specially chosen but randomly selected. With countless particles in his body, losing one to failure was inconsequential, allowing Lin Fei to experiment boldly. Let's begin. Lin Fei concentrated all his attention on a single particle. He then extended a strand of the law's power into this particle. With a burst, the power of the law exploded within, creating a space inside the particle. Particles are incredibly resilient and not easily destroyed. Even if damaged, they can quickly recover, and this particle was no exception. Lin Fei's small explosion of law did not exceed the particle's limit, allowing it to recover quickly but leaving a significant space inside. Earth, fire, water, wind, the 4 symbols. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, the 5 elements. Using the power of the law as a foundation, Lin Fei quickly introduced the elements of the 4 symbols and the 5 elements into the particle space. This combination formed the basic conditions for a world's existence. As Lin Fei released the elements of the 4 symbols and the 5 elements within the particle space, he observed the space trembling, with various elements rampantly colliding and overwhelming each other. Then, in the next moment, the particle annihilated. The 4 symbols and the 5 elements seemed chaotic and unable to support the entire particle space. It failed, Lin Fei frowned. Losing a particle was inconsequential for him, but this failure was a setback. It wasn't guaranteed to succeed just because the technique was recognized by the system. In fact, it was not easy at all. The 4 symbols and 5 elements should be correct. The particle space was also successfully created. But why did the particle annihilate? Lin Fei pondered deeply. He thought about the world he lived in and the small world where the Phoenix resided. What was different? Upon reflection, Lin Fei realized that the Phoenix's small world wasn't much different from the ancient continent he inhabited. The Phoenix's world was also full of greenery, with a clear blue sky and gentle breezes. The ancient land was similar, featuring mountains, rivers, skies, and more. Wait, are there mountains and rivers? And moreover, flames that can scorch everything. Water flows to the lowest point. The wind whispers through the void. Indeed, these are the elements I took for granted in my daily life. In the Phoenix's microcosm, these commonplace elements are, in fact, the most crucial. Why do my particles annihilate? Earth, fire, water, wind, metal, wood, water, fire, earth. These elements forge the mountains, rivers, and all else I speak of. But they lack one essential element. And that is order. Water flowing downward is order. The wind blowing in the air, the land under our feet, and so forth, all represent order. With order, the world can be stable. Lin Fei suddenly saw the light. He understood. Everything became clear. Order is the key. Otherwise, chaos reigns. The 4 symbols and the 5 elements are unbound by order. How could they then support the entire world? They would only lead to the world's collapse. Therefore, order is of utmost importance. And order requires Lin Fei, the divinely appointed creator. Even more, Lin Fei had a brilliant idea. If the order he divinely appointed differed from the outside world, or if he altered it slightly, then perhaps the development of the entire world would be radically different. This thought greatly intrigued Lin Fei. Of course, he would experiment with this slowly in the future. But for now, he proceeded methodically. First, successfully carving out a stable world was crucial. Let's begin. Lin Fei then exerted a trace of the law's power. Boom. Particles exploded within. A vast space emerged. Then, Lin Fei deployed the 4 symbols and 5 elements. As the creator of the world, Lin Fei established order. For instance, the mutual generation and overcoming of the 5 phases. For instance, some fundamental truths between heaven and earth. Water flows to the lowest point. Heaven above, earth below, and so on. Many of the most basic orders. As Lin Fei set these orders, soon, the 4 symbols and 5 elements dispersed throughout the entire space. Rumble. The entire particle space continued to tremble. Yet, there was not a hint of collapse. On the contrary, it gradually stabilized. Of course, this was just stabilization. To create life, that was far more challenging. That's another issue. But Lin Fei did not dwell on the issue of life. He only cared whether the world was stable or not. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. As time passed, the first particle world was created by Lin Fei. Finally stabilized completely. No longer showing any signs of collapse. It's done. The world I've created. Though devoid of life. With the 4 symbols and 5 elements, over time, it might even possess the conditions necessary for the birth of life. In the future, becoming a world teeming with life is not impossible. Lin Fei's heart swelled with immense joy. At this moment, he truly felt like a god. Moreover, a god of creation. Chapter 463. Terrifying exotic beasts roam, devouring millions of souls. Wait, I have created a particle world. Has my physical strength increased as a result? Lin Fei pondered a critical point. If his physical strength had not improved, then what was the point of his strenuous efforts in creating a particle world? The fundamental reason for creating a particle world was the hope of enhancing his strength to withstand the thunder tribulation, thereby gaining more laws. And with more plundered laws, Lin Fei could create even larger worlds. After all, with just 1 particle, Lin Fei's power of the laws was still weak. So, creating 1 particle was, in reality, creating a micro-world. A world perhaps only the size of a town. What kind of world was that? Only with a stronger power of the laws could he support the creation of larger worlds. After all, Lin Fei comprehended the laws of the world. The stronger the world laws, the larger the world could be. Thus, it was a virtuous cycle. Lin Fei carefully felt his physical body. 1 particle, indeed, was hard to sense. Especially since this particle was merely a micro-world. And currently, it was just the beginning of world creation. Without absorbing any external energy, how could his strength increase? Swallow. Lin Fei controlled that particle world of his physical body. He began rapidly devouring the energy of the outside world. The operation of a world also requires energy. Relying on its self-circulating energy would take an unknown amount of time. Plundering from the outside was the fastest way to enhance strength. Indeed, as external energy entered the particle world, Lin Fei could clearly feel a slight increase in his strength. And in the future, as the particle world gradually stabilized, his strength would continue to increase. So, my method is correct. This is my own martial god's cultivation method. Lin Fei was delighted in his heart. This was his Tao. His way. After all, whether it was techniques or the idea of creating worlds, he did it all himself. He deduced and conceived everything on his own. Every martial god has their unique path. Even the vast number of techniques on the ancient mainland were actually techniques passed down by the martial gods. Those techniques were the martial gods' paths. Then, they were passed down generation after generation by numerous martial kings and martial sovereigns. And they innovated, perfected, and diversified many techniques. Martial gods, like a great tree, constantly growing, branching out into many leaves. And those martial kings, martial sovereigns, martial saints, are the leaves adorning that great tree. Finally, the tree flourished with lush foliage, greening and shading, turning into the present ancient continent. Lin Fei ceaselessly forged new worlds within the microcosms of his body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each particle signified a unique world. With nothing pressing to attend to, Lin Fei devoted himself to this creation. Leisure time sufficed for such undertakings. He was in no rush. Time, he had aplenty. As for when he might traverse the thunder tribulation, Lin Fei was unsure. Yet, he felt a vague intuition. It was not yet time. Something seemed amiss. The creation of worlds must continue. Time hastened by. In the blink of an eye, over 3 months passed. During these months, Lin Fei maintained a pace of crafting a world each day. Thus, within him thrived 100 worlds. Though termed worlds, they lay empty and lifeless. Aside from absorbing energy to modestly enrich them, no other changes occurred. His physical form had indeed strengthened, but only to a limited extent. Lin Fei had experimented, capturing exotic beasts and casting them into these particle worlds. Alas, to no avail. Far from empowering the particle worlds, these beasts wreaked havoc, draining their energy and leading to frequent collapses. Hence, Lin Fei understood. For life to exist in these particle worlds, it must emerge from within. This newly required the art of a void creation. A feat beyond the reach of ordinary martial gods. 100 worlds, the power of laws, nearly depleted. And with the current strength of these laws, sustaining 100 particle worlds is already at the brink. Any more, and these worlds would struggle to persist, perhaps even collapse. Lin Fei had ceased at 100 particle worlds, sensing he had reached his limit. Continuing further, the laws would fail to hold. After all, the power of laws was finite. Lin Fei, newly initiated into the ranks of martial gods, could not expect an endless surge of this power. To augment it was simple. Face the tribulation. Surviving a single thunder tribulation would allow him to plunder greater law forces. Then, Lin Fei could resume his creation. More particle worlds, the stronger he would become. Yet, all revolved around one theme, one crucial element, the thunder tribulation. It was indispensable. Lin Fei hesitated. The thunder tribulation, he felt, was not so straightforward. He sought more information, but data on the tribulation was scarce. Even within the Dubhe Dao artifact, it was lamentably limited. Lin Fei pondered, perhaps the Heaven Transformation Ancestor knows more. He recalled that the Heaven Transformation Ancestor had brought the heavenly artifact as a gesture of goodwill towards him, but he hadn't sought out the Heaven Transformation Ancestor since then. Suddenly, a message arrived from the Luo family, a martial kin lineage. The Luo family reports that the populations of 3 kingdoms under their control have been wiped out overnight, seemingly devoured. There are suspicions of a terrifying exotic beast. The Luo family, lacking a martial king, hopes for assistance from the Feng family. Hearing this, Lin Fei, who was with Feng Ling, expressed his concern. How could millions disappear overnight? Even a king-level exotic beast couldn't achieve that. It was clear to both Lin Fei and Feng Ling that a king-level exotic beast wouldn't have such devastating power. Could it be a god-level exotic beast? Lin Fei speculated, but even the ancient continent hadn't reported any sightings of such creatures. After some time, another report came in. The Luo family, along with 2 human kingdoms, had vanished, leaving behind a dead zone. Feng Ling suggested, Lin Fei, should we investigate? Such actions are shaking the foundation of the ancient continent, and if unchecked, this threat might eventually spread to the Feng family and the ancient origin sect. Lin Fei agreed. Let's go and see. Chapter 464. The Ancient Exotic Beast, Dao Tai. At the old site of the Luo family, Lin Fei and Feng Ling arrived, hovering above the scene. The area was eerily deserted, with no sign of life for thousands of miles around, an unusual sight in the densely populated ancient continent. The Luo family, despite lacking a martial king, had many top-tier martial sovereigns and even some methods comparable to martial kings. Yet, they were all gone. Feng Ling was visibly shaken, wondering what kind of exotic beast or person could have caused such devastation. Suddenly, Lin Fei sensed a faint fluctuation of power. It was subtle, but his keen perception picked it up. The two of them flew towards the origin of this disturbance and encountered a handsome man in a black robe, seemingly relishing something with a satisfied expression. In the midst of the void, stood a handsome man cloaked in darkness, his lips seemingly still savoring a taste, his countenance filled with reminiscence. Murmuring softly, he remarked, "Truly delicious, it's been so long since I've indulged in such a satisfying devouring." Indeed, the ancient continent is unparalleled in its allowance for such unrestrained consumption. Yet, alas, time permits no prolonged delays, duty beckons. The handsome figure in black robes appeared somewhat unsatisfied, his visage adorned with a tinge of regret. "Is that so? I wonder, what do you define as duty?" Suddenly, a voice unfamiliar to him emanated from behind. With a swift turn, the handsome figure beheld two imposing silhouettes, a hint of astonishment flashing across his gaze. Two martial gods. Since when did the ancient continent boast such a plethora of martial gods? And after such a lengthy wait, instead of the deity transformations, martial gods arrive. Presumably, you've just attained the status of martial god. Lacking the intricate machinations of those deity transformations. Here, the formidable deity transformations manifest myriad incarnations, where do they not cast their gaze? Do you believe they haven't noticed my presence? But tell me, which of the deity transformations has dared to impede my path? Not that they haven't attempted, but rather, they dare not. Proudly declared the man in the handsome black robe. Lin Fei and Feng Ling exchanged glances, understanding the implications. Deity transformation cultivators should have been the first to respond to such a significant event, but their silence was telling. Despite this, Lin Fei and Feng Ling couldn't just stand by idly. As newly ascended martial gods, they were not intimidated, even without the support of deity transformation cultivators. After all, a martial god is generally considered stronger than a deity transformation being of the same level, the widely accepted truth. Upon reaching the divine realm, the martial sovereign proved far more formidable than those in deity transformation. Deity transformation was primarily a means of survival. To fully vanquish a deity transformation expert was exceedingly difficult, for they had numerous avatars at their disposal. Yet, in terms of offensive prowess and sheer strength, the martial gods clearly surpassed. Lin Fei, alongside Feng Ling, two eminent martial gods, feared no one. "Who are you, really?" Lin Fei inquired, his voice laden with gravity. He had begun to suspect that this cloaked man bore an extraordinary identity. Who am I?" the figure chuckled. "I have been known by many names. In ancient times, I bore a name that has long echoed through the ages. Dao Tai." Boom. In the next instant, the cloaked man's form expanded rapidly. He then transformed into a monstrous exotic beast spanning the heavens and the earth. With a human face and a sheep's body, eyes beneath the armpits, and hands like a tiger's teeth, he stood 10,000 meters tall. As he opened his mouth, an infinite suction force seemed to emanate. Witnessing this, Lin Fei and Feng Ling's expressions shifted subtly. They were certainly familiar with the notorious reputation of Dao Tai. It was said to be insatiably gluttonous, even to the extent of consuming its own body. Under the command of the Luo family, entire kingdoms and countless lives had been devoured. Reflecting upon it, this seemed to match the legends of Dao Tai. Moreover, Dao Tai was a mythical being, a true divine-level exotic beast. "You fancy eating, do you? Then feast to your heart's content." Feng Ling thought and acted in a heartbeat. Boom. Instantly, she invoked the primal essence of fire. A mighty conflagration descended in an instant, turning the entire void into a sea of flames. This was no ordinary fire. Not even the phoenix flames, it was the fire of Feng Ling herself. The fire of the primal essence of the flame Dao. a unique technique of the martial gods capable of harming even divine beings. Raw. Dao Tai immediately felt the scorching burn of the flames, a significant threat even to it. "I will devour you," Dao Tai bellowed. It opened its massive maw, intent on swallowing Feng Ling whole. Lin Fei's gaze turned icy. He launched a fist. Bang! Lin Fei's punch held nothing back. He exerted his full strength, mobilizing the particles of his flesh, and even the power of 100 particle worlds. Thus, his fist struck Tao Chi's gaping mouth. Bang! Tao Chi's mouth shattered upon impact, shattered completely. Then, with a grand sweep of his hand, Lin Fei's grasp, like a mountain, enveloped all. Boon! Dao Tai was utterly confounded. Its immense form was firmly suppressed by Lin Fei's colossal hand, rendered completely immobile. Was this the prowess of a newly ascended martial god? Since when had martial gods become so formidable? World laws, seal. Lin Fei invoked the world's laws, binding them directly onto Dao Tai. The world's laws, adept in suppression and sealing, even divine-level exotic beasts were not exempt. However, Lin Fei was now somewhat perplexed. This Dao Tai seemed too feeble. At least, in his eyes, it was. Were mythological creatures always this weak? Such a weak Dao Tai, are you truly the legendary one from the myths? Lin Fei was skeptical. Dao Tai, meanwhile, widened its eyes, staring at Lin Fei and Feng Ling. It had just been utterly overpowered, completely dominated, especially by Lin Fei. Both in strength and in lore, he had overwhelmed it. Could there be such a terrifying martial god? Or had it simply been too long since its return? Had the ancient continent changed? Wasn't the ancient continent a mundane realm where the strongest were only at the divine level? Once it returned to the mundane realm, it was supposed to be invincible. After all, in the myths of the mundane realm, it was a fearsome being from the ancient era. Thus, it had strived to return to the ancient continent. But now, having consumed only a fraction of life, it was sealed. This hardly matched what it had heard of the mundane realm. "Where do you hail from?" Lin Fei inquired. "I come from the divine realm," Dao Tai lamented. "Damn Kun, deceiving me to come to the mundane realm, claiming I could devour life at will. It even told me to seek someone, a human martial king named Lin Fei." Kun. Lin Fei's expression chilled as he stood with his hands behind his back. "I am Lin Fei. If you speak of Kun, then I understand. The one Kun sent you to find is me. However, I am no longer a martial king, but a martial god." Lin Fei's words left Dao Tai agape, its heart reeling in shock. It had thought itself deceived by Kun. Little did it know that there truly was a martial king named Lin Fei. But now he had transformed into a martial god. Chapter 465. A horrific beating. How can you be so formidable without having undergone the thunder tribulation? Dao Tai asked in disbelief. "If I'm not mistaken, you're not the true form of Dao Tai, are you?" Lin Fei didn't answer directly but countered with a question. Dao Tai nodded. "Of course, I'm not the true form. In the divine realm, every divine being cultivates several avatars to some extent. We divine-level exotic beasts, although not nearly as proficient as those in deity transformation who can manifest billions of avatars. However, cultivating a few avatars is still within our capabilities. In this respect, indeed, we surpass you martial gods. You martial gods have but one body. Once dead, you are utterly gone. We, on the other hand, only mourn the hardship of cultivating the lost avatar upon death." At this point, Dao Tai seemed to relax, becoming almost completely candid. After all, it stood no chance against Lin Fei. As for self-detonation, that was even less likely. Lin Fei's world laws were adept at sealing. Once sealed and suppressed, even moving was a challenge. Self-detonation. Out of the question. Besides, even if self-detonation were possible, Dao Tai wouldn't choose it. Unlike the deity transformation cultivator, cultivating an avatar is extremely challenging for exotic beasts, requiring the use of essence blood, among other things. For exotic beasts, the loss of an avatar is a significant setback. It could take an indeterminable length of time to recultivate. Therefore, unless absolutely necessary, divine-level exotic beasts would not forsake an avatar. "You say you've returned from the divine realm?" Lin Fei inquired further. Is it difficult to return from the divine realm to the ancient continent? It's somewhat difficult, but mostly it's incredibly troublesome. What's the difference between the divine realm and the ancient continent? The difference is substantial. The divine realm is the center of countless worlds, the closest place to the Tao. Only by achieving Tao integration in the divine realm can one be considered a true immortal, otherwise, they are but false immortals, incapable of eternal life. Similarly, only in the divine realm can one become an invincible founder of the martial Tao. Moreover, the Tao and laws you comprehend in the ancient continent are actually incomplete. If you go to the divine realm, your Tao and laws will automatically become complete. Then, your strength will be greatly enhanced. That's why countless divine beings from numerous worlds yearn to enter the divine realm. Tao Chi's revelations sent shockwaves through Lin Fei and Feng Ling. This was their first time hearing such detailed information about the divine realm. Wait, you said countless worlds. Are there other worlds besides the ancient continent? Lin Fei asked again. Of course, there are other worlds. You don't think the ancient continent is the only one, do you? Haha, you know of minor worlds, right? In fact, your ancient continent is just one such minor world. However, the ancient continent is somewhat unique. Legends say that many great beings, true immortals, are sourced from the ancient continent. Therefore, the ancient continent was once very powerful. You consider yourselves the center of countless worlds. But the divine realm is the actual center of myriad worlds. Once you visit the divine realm and sense the Tao there, you will naturally understand. Lin Fei fell silent. His mind began to paint a picture. The divine realm, positioned centrally, like a resplendent pearl. And surrounding it, countless worlds like grains of sand in the Ganges, known as minor worlds. Lin Fei hadn't expected that the ancient continent too was considered a minor world. He had thought that only the world of the Phoenix was a minor world. But upon reflection, the world of the Phoenix might indeed be a minor world. But who said the ancient continent wasn't a minor world? The ancient continent was rife with rumors, even of the birth of true immortals. And myths from the ancient and primordial eras. All these led Lin Fei to an illusion as if the ancient continent was teeming with true immortals and countless martial ancestors, the center of innumerable worlds. But now it seems the ancient continent is not the center. The divine realm is the true center. How can one reach the divine realm? Lin Fei inquired. It's relatively easy to go to the divine realm. Once you become a deity, you can go to the Mountain of Ascension, which in the ancient continent is likely called the Mountain of Ascension, and in many places it's known as the Path to Heaven. Anyway, the meaning is the same, just the name differs. Once at the Mountain of Ascension, as long as you are at the divine level, you can naturally sense the gateway to the divine realm and thereby enter it. However, once you go to the divine realm, returning becomes difficult. Originally, there was free passage between the divine realm and other worlds. But where there are people, there is strife. Some major powers control the pathways between the two realms, allowing entry into the divine realm but not from the divine realm to other minor worlds. To enter, you must meet their conditions. Hand over some precious items. Or, like me, sneakily risk traversing the pathways between the two realms, entering the ancient continent. Doubt I detailed everything, almost without concealment. It shared all it knew about the divine realm. To Lin Fei and Feng Ling, opening their eyes to new horizons. Right, since you both are martial gods, make sure not to undergo your tribulation in the ancient continent. Undergoing it here might seem easier, but in reality, the laws you'd assimilate are merely those of the ancient continent and thus would be weaker. This inherently weakens you from the start. Therefore, it's best to undergo your tribulation after reaching the divine realm. You'd better hurry to the divine realm. Don't linger in the ancient continent any longer. Time flows differently between the divine realm and the ancient continent. It's a ratio of 1 to 10. 10 years spent in the ancient continent mean 10 years of life lost, with little to gain. In the divine realm, the 10 years you live will yield unimaginable rewards. Lin Fei didn't understand why time flowed differently, perhaps due to the Tao or laws of the divine realm being distinct from those in other minor worlds. However, Tao Chi's eagerness for Lin Fei and Feng Ling to enter the divine realm was curious. You're so keen on us entering the divine realm. So your true form can sense your avatar and then ambush us? Lin Fei suddenly asked. Don't get me wrong, I do want you to go to the divine realm. But it's not about my true form coming to kill you. My avatar is not much weaker than my true form, yet you've defeated it with ease, and my true form would fare no differently. I really don't understand how such powerful martial gods could emerge from the ancient continent, a minor world with inherent deficiencies. But once you enter the divine realm, you'll see I wasn't lying, and then you'll release me. It was no easy feat to cultivate this avatar. So, if I can preserve it, I'd prefer to do so without any ulterior motives. Tao Chia's avatar explained. Its only wish was to survive. Therefore, it dared not hide anything, answering whatever Lin Fei asked. This time it had been deceived by Kun, or rather, used by Kun. But in the end, it was its own greed. Thinking it could come to the ancient continent and wreak havoc, possibly even enhancing its strength. It hadn't anticipated that the rumors about the ancient continent were true. Rumored to be the birthplace of true immortals, home to countless powerhouses. Rich in heritage. Now it seemed this was indeed the case. It had just entered the ancient continent and was immediately thrashed by Lin Fei and Feng Ling, who had just achieved martial god status. And it was utterly powerless to retaliate. Such depth of strength was truly terrifying. Chapter 466. The Secret of the Divine Realm. Do you have any other questions? No worries, take your time to think. I will answer anything you ask without hiding a thing. Observing Tao Chia's seemingly cooperative demeanor, Lin Fei found himself in a bit of a quandary. He had no reason to silence Dao Tai. Of course, with Dao Tai being so cooperative, Lin Fei found him useful to keep. Let's hold on to this for now. Lin Fei secured Dao Tai. After all, Dao Tai was sealed by his world's laws. He had no fear of Dao Tai causing an upheaval. Lin Fei was beginning to understand that his world's laws were likely extraordinary. Dao Tai, even as an avatar, was undoubtedly an ancient mythological exotic beast from the primordial era. Yet, this powerful mythological beast was easily sealed by Lin Fei. Moreover, the power erupting from the 100 particle worlds within Lin Fei also crushed Dao Tai. Whether it was Lin Fei's self-created techniques or the world laws he comprehended, they were no small feat. Returning to the Feng family, Feng Ling solemnly said, "Lin Fei, are you planning to go to the divine realm?" She could tell that Lin Fei was somewhat tempted. After pondering for a while, Lin Fei slowly spoke. "I had already planned to attempt transcending tribulation, at least once through thunder tribulation. I didn't expect to learn of such matters. Transcending tribulation in the ancient continent weakens rather than fully realizing the laws. One misstep leads to another. I don't want to live with regrets. If I am to transcend, I must do it in the divine realm." However, regarding the divine realm, we can't blindly trust Tao Chia's words. We need to investigate further and confirm before making any plans. I plan to visit the Heaven Transformation sect tomorrow to discuss with the Master Heaven Transformation. Feng Ling nodded. "Good, then we shall go together tomorrow." Thus, Lin Fei and Feng Ling rested for the night. The next day, they flew directly to the Heaven Transformation sect. Soon, they arrived at the Heaven Transformation sect. The Heaven Transformation ancestor seemed to have known in advance about their arrival. He was well prepared. The avatar of him came to greet them. "Two martial gods, apologies for not greeting you from afar. Heaven Transformation, it seems you knew we were coming. This is not a place for conversation, please." Heaven Transformation ancestor led Lin Fei and Feng Ling to the dojo. In the entire dojo, there was only Heaven Transformation ancestor. The three sat down. Heaven Transformation ancestor smiled slightly. "Since learning that the two of you had sealed Tao Chia's avatar, I knew you would surely come. Indeed, you knew about Dao Tai. Then why didn't you intervene to stop Dao Tai?" Lin Fei asked in a grave tone. Heaven Transformation ancestor gave a wry smile and shook his head. "Truth be told, Dao Tai is immensely powerful. Even just an avatar is difficult for me to stop. If it came to a desperate fight, I might even lose several avatars to Dao Tai. In this ancient continent, with the laws now fragmented and energy diminishing, creating new avatars has become exceedingly challenging. Therefore, it's best to avoid losses whenever possible. And it's not just me. The other deity transformation cultivators are the same, turning a blind eye one after another. After all, Dao Tai knows its limits and dares not act rashly. If it were to truly cause chaos, someone from the divine realm would naturally come to deal with it. However, I never expected you two, esteemed friends, to be so powerful as to suppress Dao Tai in one fell swoop, truly astonishing our peers in the ancient continent. Lin Fei understood. The other deity transformation cultivators were all cunning. Just like Heaven Transformation Ancestor before him, they were all aware of Taoqia's identity. Each of them was reluctant to exert themselves, fearing their avatars would be devoured by Dao Tai, thus weakening their own strength. Once reaching deity transformation, these immortal cultivators became overly cautious. Instead, it was he and Feng Lin, the two naive youngsters, who stepped up. To everyone's surprise, Lin Fei and Feng Lin, both martial gods, actually managed to suppress Dao Tai. This must have caused a stir throughout the ancient continent. Heaven Transformation, we learned some things about the divine realm from Dao Tai. You once said that if we plan to visit the divine realm, we must meet with you first. Now we are here, could you please share what you know about the divine realm? Lin Fei spoke slowly. He didn't know what Heaven Transformation Ancestor was planning, but all he wanted was some information about the divine realm. Moreover, Lin Fei cleverly used Dao Tai as a reminder to Heaven Transformation Ancestor that he and Feng Ling were not completely ignorant about the divine realm. With this reminder, Heaven Transformation Ancestor had to weigh his words carefully. Any attempt at deception could offend Lin Fei and Feng Ling, or lead to misunderstandings, which would be counterproductive and undesirable. After a long pause, Heaven Transformation Ancestor finally spoke, smiling, "Friends Lin and Feng, since you both are so forthright, I shall not beat around the bush and speak plainly. The divine realm is indeed a place all divine-level experts, especially martial gods, aspire to reach. For martial gods who wish to advance further and grow stronger, they must transcend the thunder tribulation in the divine realm. Only then can they obtain the complete laws and gain even stronger powers. However, staying in the ancient continent also has its advantages. Here, we can establish sects and lineages, enjoying a glorious era spanning hundreds of thousands of years. If one goes to the divine realm, such treatment is not guaranteed. Moreover, it's not that cultivation is impossible in the ancient continent, it's just not as straightforward. If your ambitions are lofty, by all means, head for the divine realm. The gateway to the divine realm lies within the mountain of ascension. However, if one day you achieve greatness in the divine realm or even manage to return to the ancient continent, I only ask that you bring me a void transformation pill. I am willing to pay any price for this pill." With that, Heaven Transformation Ancestor surprisingly bowed deeply to Lin Fei and Feng Ling. Lin Fei frowned and said, "What is a void transformation pill? Unless you explain clearly, I will not help you." Heaven Transformation Ancestor replied with a wry smile, "Deity transformations have a lifespan of 100,000 years. I have already lived for several tens of thousands of years. With more than half of my life gone, naturally, I wish to continue living. I have no ambition to cultivate in the divine realm to the void transformation stage. How many deity transformations can achieve that? Very few. But if I could get a void transformation pill, it would be different. The void transformation stage primarily involves comprehending the laws of space, allowing for spatial traversal. The true void transformation stage, in the divine realm, means countless avatars traversing numerous small worlds in an instant. There's also a pseudo-void transformation stage. It involves comprehending the spatial laws within a small world, enabling void traversal within that world. Still, it is considered void transformation, with a lifespan of 1,000,000 years. However, once one becomes a pseudo-void transformation, they cannot leave that small world, or else they would perish due to conflicting laws. The void transformation pill is crafted by Tao Integration True Immortals. Although it's precious, it is attainable. Consuming a void transformation pill gives a deity transformation a great chance to penetrate the void laws of a small world, thus becoming a pseudo-void transformation. My only desire is to live for 1,000,000 years. Even if there's just a glimmer of hope, it's worth pursuing. Heaven Transformation Ancestor was sincere in his request. This was his only option. He dared not venture into the divine realm, for once one steps into the divine realm, returning becomes a difficult task. His only choice was to forge good relations with those potential-filled divine-level experts, hoping for a slim chance to one day receive a void transformation pill from them. Such tactics of persuasion, Heaven Transformation Ancestor must have employed before. I promise you, if one day obtaining a void transformation pill becomes an effortless task, I shall willingly give you a chance as a token of appreciation for your efforts. Lin Fei nodded in agreement. He made no guarantees. If acquiring a void transformation pill turned out to be a simple task, Lin Fei was naturally willing to help. Otherwise, he would not truly go out of his way to seek a void transformation pill for Heaven Transformation Ancestor. Having fully grasped the situation of the divine realm from Heaven Transformation Ancestor, Lin Fei no longer harbored any doubts. Thus, he left the Heaven Transformation sect together with Feng Lin, returning to the Feng family. Chapter 467. The Gateway Revealed, Entering the Divine Realm. Lin Fei did more than just visit Heaven Transformation Ancestor. He employed some extraordinary means and proactively sought an audience with many deity transformation elders to learn about the divine realm. After all, he was preparing to venture there and needed to thoroughly understand it. He couldn't afford to be reckless, as this involved not only the Feng family but also the ancient origin sect, with far-reaching implications necessitating Lin Fei's utmost caution and care. However, the information gleaned from these deity transformation elders mostly aligned with what Dao Tai and Heaven Transformation Ancestor had conveyed. It could be concluded that the divine realm as described by Dao Tai and Heaven Transformation Ancestor was indeed the center of countless worlds, with the ancient continent being merely one of many small worlds. Lin Fei's path was that of eternal life. In the ancient continent, Lin Fei realized he could not achieve eternal life, and thus his journey led him towards the divine realm. However, he hadn't forgotten his initial engagement with Qing Yuzi, the previous owner of the Dubhe Dao artifact and a half-step deity transformation. Lin Fei owed him a karmic debt to deal with a deity transformation strongman named Hua Xianzi. Lin Fei didn't make any grand movements but instead started by discreetly investigating. Indeed, he discovered traces of Hua Xianzi. However, it was said that Hua Xianzi had long since ventured into the divine realm and was now untraceable, leaving behind a sect guarded only by a nascent soul realm cultivator. Gone to the divine realm? Lin Fei furrowed his brows. Hua Xianzi, having obtained something of the Dubhe true immortal, had a limitless future. Once in the divine realm, it was likely she wouldn't stop at just deity transformation. So much time she had passed that she might have even reached the void transformation stage. However, the karmic debt with Qing Yuzi wasn't something Lin Fei was in a rush to fulfill. After all, his obligation to Qing Yuzi was merely to eliminate Hua Xianzi when capable. If he wasn't powerful enough and Hua Xianzi was too formidable, Lin Fei would have to temporarily avoid confrontation. Therefore, Lin Fei spent some quality time with Feng Ling and the Feng family, not focusing on cultivation, but wholeheartedly accompanying Feng Ling. Yet, after several months, Feng Ling's belly still showed no signs of change. It was indeed peculiar. Lin Fei had been fully devoted to accompanying Feng Ling during this time, yet they had no offspring, not even the slightest indication of it. In truth, the higher the life form, the more challenging it becomes to bring forth offspring. After all, ordinary people beget their kin through simple bloodlines, devoid of intricate evolutions. Yet for beings of a superior order, the process is far more complex. Even amongst martial kings, the birth of children is a rarity, let alone for beings like Lin Fei and Feng Ling, who stand as martial gods. Some martial gods go through their entire existence without the gift of progeny, while others might wait millennia for such a blessing. But both Lin Fei and Feng Ling are martial artists, seekers of the Tao. Even Feng Ling, with her lofty stature, never contemplated halting her journey there, always yearning to ascend further. Hence, the absence of offspring did not weigh upon them. After months alongside Feng Ling, Lin Fei knew the time was nigh. Lin Fei, you have accompanied me for many months, Feng Ling spoke with understanding, holding Lin Fei's hand. Go do what you must. The Feng family and ancient origin sect will be under my watch. I know you wish to explore on your own, she added with empathy, always aware of Lin Fei's aspirations. After all, she too was a martial artist, once a prodigy amongst her kind. How could a true martial artist, especially one like Lin Fei, be content with the mundane? Lin Fei nodded slightly, smiling. Rest assured, my journey to the divine realm won't be long. I will return. The elders like Heaven Transformation Ancestor have said that once one enters the divine realm, returning is not straightforward. But I know many paths lead back. The simplest is achieving the rank of a great martial god. Breaking through the void then poses no challenge. If nothing else works, if Dao Tai can return, so can I. I entrust you, Feng Ling, to watch over the ancient origin sect and the Feng family. With a gentle smile, Feng Ling replied, we are Dao companions, our fates intertwined. I shall guard the ancient origin sect, you journey through the divine realm without worry. Very well, said Lin Fei, speaking no further. After a moment of tender warmth, Lin Fei departed without informing the ancient origin sect, leaving behind only letters. Alone, he left the Feng family, his figure a phantom as he swiftly reached the Mountain of Ascension. The Mountain of Ascension, famed and illustrious, is renowned throughout the ancient continent. Many venture there, yet only divine beings comprehend its true essence, a portal to the divine realm. To many, the Mountain of Ascension is but a perilous place, a sight to admire the legacy of the divine. In recent millennia, fewer divine beings have graced the Mountain of Ascension. Instead, many nascent souls and martial kings have been spotted within its realms. Lin Fei, with a flash, appeared amidst the mountain, drawing the attention of many. Yet, without revealing much of his formidable aura, he went largely unnoticed. Lin Fei paid no mind to the others. Upon his arrival at the Mountain of Ascension, he immediately sensed something extraordinary: the laws. He felt a disturbance in the laws, unmistakable and bright as the sun, perceptible to any divine being. This must be the portal to the divine realm at the Mountain of Ascension, Lin Fei murmured. With a step forward, Lin Fei's aura erupted, his martial god's might enveloping the entire mountain. Martial sovereigns and golden core cultivators knelt, trembling, unable to lift their heads despite their utmost efforts. Only those of the nascent soul and martial king ranks could barely raise their heads to gaze at the figure in the void. A divine being, they exclaimed. The divine presence has returned to the Mountain of Ascension. Which deity might this be? The repeated divine appearances at the Mountain of Ascension must signify a secret. What could it be? Look, the deity is ascending to the peak. Many watched as Lin Fei methodically made his way to the mountain summit. To the ordinary eye, the peak appeared barren, void of anything noteworthy. But through Lin Fei's vision, a portal stood at the summit, a gateway to the divine realm. To open this portal required the power of the laws, a feat beyond the reach of the ordinary. Reaching the summit, Lin Fei took a deep breath and commanded, open. With the activation of the world's laws, a colossal portal materialized. Peering into its deep, dark maw, filled with mystery and the unknown, Lin Fei hesitated not. He inhaled deeply and stepped through, vanishing into the portal in an instant. As he disappeared, a deity arrived at the Mountain of Ascension, a portal appeared, and then vanished. Let's go to the peak. Many witnessed this scene and hurried to the summit. However, they found nothing and encountered nothing. Disappointed, they returned, leaving behind another legend at the Mountain of Ascension, of a divine trace, an ascent to the peak, a step through a portal, and a disappearance into the unknown.